On a stormy evening when the rain seemed endless and the thunder rolled like distant drums of doom, the first story unfolded in a small countryside inn where a lone traveler had taken shelter from the pouring rain, the sound of water dripping from his soaked coat echoing in the dimly lit lobby as he signed in. The innkeeper, a frail old woman with tired eyes, warned him to avoid room 6, claiming it had been locked for decades after a guest went missing on a rainy night just like this. But curiosity gnawed at him as the storm raged louder and sleep evaded him. So he tiptoed into the hallway where the rain tapped on the windows like insistent fingers, and the golden glow of a candle flickered beneath the forbidden door, which creaked open as if beckoning him, revealing a moldy, decayed room with water dripping steadily from the ceiling. Yet on the bed lay a wet outline of a body that slowly turned its head toward him, whispering his name through the hiss of rainfall, sending him fleeing in terror as thunder shook the inn, and the door slammed shut, never to open again. In the second story, the rain poured endlessly along a desolate stretch of road, where a taxi driver exhausted from his night shifts reluctantly stopped for a drenched woman in a long white dress who stood shivering on the roadside, her soaked hair clinging to her pale face, and though she never spoke more than to say home in a chilling monotone, he drove her to the address. She whispered, each raindrop pounding on the windshield louder than the last as his unease grew yet when he arrived and turned back to collect his fare. The back seat was empty except for wet puddles soaking into the seat. Shaken, he knocked on the door of the house only to be greeted by an elderly couple who explained with trembling voices that their daughter had died in a car accident on that very road 5 years ago during a night just as stormy as this, and every few years she returned with the rain, seeking a ride back home, leaving the driver unable to sleep for nights after, haunted by the memory of her lifeless eyes reflected in his rearview mirror. The third story struck deeper in the city, where a group of college friends ignored weather warnings and gathered at an old riverside cabin for a weekend getaway, drinking and laughing while the rain hammered the roof and lightning split the sky. But as midnight approached and the rain sounds drowned their voices, they noticed a figure standing across the riverbank in the downpour, motionless and staring, its face obscured by shadows and its clothes dripping black water. And though they tried to dismiss it as a trick of the storm, each time the lightning flashed the figure appeared closer, now on their side of the river, now in the yard, now at the window, until the pounding of rain was joined by the tapping of wet fingers on the glass. In their panic, they locked the doors, yet the storm outside seemed to swell with anger as if echoing the entity's presence, the cabin walls shuddering beneath the weight of the rain. And one by one the lights flickered out until only the sound of relentless rainfall remained, followed by a single scream that no thunder could hide. And the next morning when authorities investigated, they found the cabin empty, the floor slick with rainwater as if the storm itself had swallowed the group whole, leaving behind nothing but their belongings and the faint impression of wet footprints leading back into the river. And so, these 3 true rainy night horror stories remind us that storms carry more than thunder and water. They carry memories of the lost, shadows that return when the world is drenched and vulnerable, and voices that rise from the rain to remind us that not all who walk on stormy nights are among the living, their presence blending with the soothing yet sinister rhythm of rainfall, lulling listeners into terror as they realize that perhaps the next time they find themselves alone under a dark sky, with only the sound of rain surrounding them, something unseen may already be watching.